Thanks, contact Congenial Pharmacy. Hello? Okay, sorry about that. I had to have my mute on the thing instead of I was over here yakking and not even listening. But anyway, that being said, thanks for joining us here in the European crossover webinar. We did have some um, manufacturing data hit, and which was the Eurozone manufacturing, and that was here at 54.8. And also Spanish numbers came in at 49.3. Also French at 55.1. And German numbers came in also. But we do have some UK data that's going to come in at the bottom of the hour here. What I was saying, I had the mute off, was that we did see a recovery here from the Asian session open here, especially right here in the NASDAQ. Pretty good little move here. And we can take a look at the S&P. Also decent little rebound here. Don't follow that too closely. Now, we do have, like I said, data that's coming out that's also, we're going to get also manufacturing PMIs out of Canada at 8:30 Eastern, as well as final manufacturing PMI out of the States at 9:45 Eastern, and construction spending, and more importantly, ISM manufacturing will be out at 10 a.m. Eastern. They're looking for 9:10. So quite a bit of data coming out this morning. We've also had some big runs in silver. We can take a look at that, where that stands on the 30 minutes, but it's already had a pretty big jump. We had a good move in the Asian session before we backed off. And look at that. We made another big move here. Going back into the 30-minute. Pretty big jump up in here. And actually, look at this little bit of a mini shooting star, and then another one. So they're still holding up, trying to hold up at this 30-cent level here. We can take a look, quick look here on and a quick overview here where we stand here on take a look at the euro. A little bit weaker here. We finally broke a little bit below here at 21 even. Taking a look here at cable and the Aussie dollar. Still pressing a little bit lower, but holding above that 50-day moving average, as well as the Kiwi. And dollar CAD. And dollar peso. After a strong move on dollar peso, we're giving up a little bit of gains here, but coming into some support. And dollar yen finally, asserting itself and continuing to break a little bit higher. We broke higher on Friday. We paired back a bit, but we're trying to make that push again. And then lastly here on the dollar index, looks like we're getting a little bit of fall, but we haven't made any kind of a significant move. Bias chart resistance still remains at 90.92. With that, we'll go in and pull up the stories and see where we stand here. Obviously, a big deal was silver. Silver swept up by the GameStop retail frenzy. Prices soar. Silver prices surged up to an 8-year high on Monday. Silver mining stocks leapt, and bullion dealers were scrambling as small-time investors piled into the metal. The latest target of retail trading frenzy that was set the financial markets on edge. Organized in online forums, traded with fee-free brokers such as Robinhood, the phenomenon has driven a 1,500% rally in the shares of video game retailer GameStop action in silver following thousands of Reddit posts and hundreds of YouTube videos suggesting that a rise in physical price could again hurt large investors with bets on falling marks a foray into the much bigger and more liquid market. Spot silver left more than 11% in London at $30.03 an ounce. The feverish buying extended silver mining stocks in Australia and China to online dealers, with large U.S. broker APMEX warning of processing delays while it secures more bullion and money metals exchange suspending trading until mid-morning Monday. The Reddit crowd has turned into sights on a bigger whale in terms of buying to catalyst something of a short squeeze in the silver market, said Kyle Rhoda. Volumes in small miner stocks in Australia are unprecedented, and jumps in some exploration firms which do not actually produce silver top 90%. Just do it, wrote an investor who went by the name of Mad Crazy on the Chinese microblogging log. And you can see here this big rip. The popularity of the dabbing in stock markets has grown during the COVID-19 pandemic. Stimulus checks and lockdowns have driven account openings and investments. Craze hit fever pitch last week when GameStop pile-on resulted in a short squeeze, which turned price actions stratospheric. Now it's silver's turn, and once again, the scale of buying is actually the professionals by surprise. We took an aggressive possession this week, but clearly could not have predicted the volumes that we're seeing. Once we exceeded our comfort levels, we have little choice but to stop the sale of silver. Online discussions had turned to the silver late last week. Reddit posts suggested that higher prices could hurt banks with large short positions, and said buying to easy exchange traded silver funds could quickly ramp up the metal's value. That occurred in Asia Monday with a record $40 million point into the Australian ETF fund. It's quite a big day of flows, and was previously around 220 million fund, said Evan Metcalf. Our product being listed in the ASX kind of gave people a head start, timing wise as well, because it's before the US and European markets. And moving on to FX. Dollar softens as Asian stocks rally and safe haven demand. The safe haven dollar faltered on Monday as risk sentiment improved on hopes that retail investors who targeted hedge funds last week had their sights turned elsewhere. The U.S. currency declined against most of its peers as Asian stocks rallied. Early, the greenback had found some support as traders remained wary of retail investors who had organized online might continue their assault on hedge fund short positions, speaking more volatility, but crowds focused appear to have shifted squarely to silver. We need to see where equity stabilizes, and this is a short-term blip in equity markets, or it's going to have further downside. A group of Republican senators are urging Biden Democrats to significantly downside his $1.9 pandemic relief package and float a $600 billion alternative. The Dow Index slipped to 90.53 on Monday. Investors are going to evaluate whether an almost 7% sell-off in 2020, driven by expectations of a global pandemic and massive fiscal spending, is likely to continue. The U.S. dollar downtrend has been arrested by the time being, said Ray Trill, and data from the weekend showed China's factory recovery slowed in January. So with that, as I said, you can see here we're still holding up pretty well, and this might be playing in part, but I guess because one take might be that silver's doing so well is that it's allowing some pressure to come off against these currencies. Against the equities. But we'll see where that takes us, and we're going to move into the analysis at this point. Okay, we'll start with the euro. So the euro remains in a tight range of 100 pips. Resistance to start the week will be 21.73 with support at 20.73. Currently here at 20.93. A close on either side should lead to a directional move. So we started from the weak side here. You can see we pressed them lower. We're looking at 20.73 on the downside. The low has been 20.84. So 20.73. And on the upside, we're not pushing too much. So the upside right now for now is going to be right there, which would be 20. Well, actually, that is a high, 21.37. So we're just moving just a tad higher, which would be 21.57. Since we're starting from the weak side. Onto cable. And cable remains locked in a tight range of 125 pips. Resistance remains 37.44, which is a 78%, followed by a weekly level of 37.96. The pair will need a daily close above 37.96 to spark another move. Support comes in at 36.29. So this one's holding up still fairly well. We do have resistance here at 37.44, followed by that weekly level of 37.96. 37.44, at least for now, is holding it. And on the downside, we're looking at 36.29. And moving on to the Aussie. The Aussie saw its lowest close in 3 weeks. The pair is open to a correction, potentially to 75.03. Support to start the week will be 75.75 with resistance at 76.88. And on to the Kiwi. The Kiwi bounced off of the 50-day moving average. The pair remains bullish until there's a daily close below 71.07. Resistance for next week will be 72.39 with support at 71.07. And with that, we'll go into the dollar CAD. Dollar CAD paired back on Friday in a short covering week. Support to start the week will be 27.27 with resistance at 28.48. And on to the dollar peso. The dollar peso finished the week on a strong note from a pair that has been woefully weak with nary a pullback. Resistance comes in at the old 2062 area, followed by 2068. Support will be 2043. Well, we're even pressing below that, so we'd have to go back to the breakout area here, which was 2033. So the downside is going to be 2033. And this thing's already having a tough time to start with. And on the upside, we'll go with 2058. Onto the dollar yen. This thing is finally starting to scoot after being dead for a while. We kind of made a push. We saw this move on Friday. We paired back a bit and are starting to reassert ourselves. The dollar yen broke above the 452 level to challenge 105. Support to start the week will be 441 with resistance at 513. The pair may consolidate recent gains, but with a bullish tone. So once again, the support's going to be 441 with resistance at 513. And the dollar index continues to consolidate in a weakened state. Immediate resistance remains 90.92 with the daily close above 91.09 to spark short covering. Support will be 90.24. So even though we've moved a little bit higher, we haven't really done anything with the dollar index. So support 90.24 and resistance remains 90.92. On to the cross rates. QEN took out stops to the upside on Friday before pairing back. The pair closed at the best levels in 2 weeks. Resistance to start the week will be 75.42 with support at 74.43. And on to the euro pound. The euro pound broke to new lows in the prior week, but posted a small hammer on that day, which was subsequently defended on Thursday and Friday. Initial resistance is a major level of 88.75, followed by 89.20. Support will be the prior week's low at 88.11. We're broken even below that right now, but we'll stick with that and see whether we continue to try and push that move lower. But we'll go with the 88.11, and resistance is going to be that 89.75. And I meant to say 88.75. Onto the euro odd. Euro odd is quietly trying to move higher after establishing a bottom over the last 2 weeks. Resistance to start the week will be 59.78 with support at 57.67. And onto the euro kiwi. The euro kiwi remains stuck in a rut. The key level remains 70, even as a roof bordered on the downside of 68 even. The daily close on either side will see follow through. So on the downside, we're looking at 68 even. And on the upside, that 70 area. And onto the Aussie yen. Aussie yen remains in a 140 pip range of the last near 3 weeks. The pair is neutral, and resistance on the upside is going to be 80.75 with support at 79.45. And to the guppy. Boy, we're still continuing to press high on this guppy. The guppy took out upside stops on Friday before pairing back slightly. The pair remains bullish, but is susceptible to pullback this week. Resistance will be 43.79, which it's above right now, with support at 42.85. So we'll stick with that 43.79, but it's certainly still pressing here. We'll just see how this market reacts or is able to sustain above that. 43.79 on the downside, 42.85. And to the sterling odd. Sterling odd is breaking higher from a double bottom. Solid resistance to start the week will be 80.36 with support at 78.25. And we'll just take a quick look at silver. This thing still continues to go and impress higher. Take a look at it on a weekly. We're right there at weekly resistance at 30.36. And actually, right now we're at 30.18. So we're going for that weekly level, it appears to be. See what's the high so far has been. Wow, 30.35. So they went right to that weekly level and it pared back a bit. You can see there. Trying to press up against it. It'd be something else if they break above it. They paired back. We did see a pullback in Asia, and we've dropped right back to here to the 23%. And the market just kind of mingled around here until we finally broke higher, and we've shot for that weekly level. So, boy, we're really going bananas. And I think that might be the reason also that you're seeing equities rebound is because the thinking would be, well, if they're doing so successful in silver, and that's a bigger market, why are they going to even they're going to lose some interest in trying to go with GameStop, that they would just end up just going and keep on pressing against that. Speaking of GameStop, you see here, that's just relatively quiet right now. We're holding, but it's not like we're doing anything here. But with silver, obviously a different ball game. We're looking up here. And not really placing too much thoughts here. You can see Apple doing on the FANG. I really don't think this has anything to do with anything right now. There's Amazon. We're a little bit better across the board overall. NVIDIA, Facebook. See these little gap moves. Netflix. Same thing here. Little gap move here. Intel. And then to the, let's see, here's Tesla. Same thing, a little bit of a gap. The pandemic stocks like Peloton, holding its own, PayPal, eBay. So nothing of any real note. And on the daily, we came right here close to the 50-day moving average. We didn't quite hit it, but we came close to it. And we recovered a bit here. Yeah, John says, hi ho, silver. Boy, silver, just something else. And we went right to that weekly level. And John also says that the Dalian has a bullish engulfing month. We can take a look at that. Hang on. Yeah, that was a bullish engulfing month. You're right. Look at that. It sure was. And Amira said to take a look at platinum. Pretty good run here in platinum. And look, that's on a week. That's on a monthly. And going to the weekly, holding up pretty well. Take a look at it on the daily. Been a while since we looked. Right here is going to be the key, right there. And actually went right there almost. 1136. 1136 on platinum. You want to see it against that close. Right there. Didier said you can look at XRP. That's one of the coins, right? Because I just look at the only ones I've really paid much attention to is Bitcoin and was it Ethereum? Let me see here. I don't know whether, I mean, I know I have access to it. I just don't know if I'm doing the right. Yeah, it looks like I'm not doing the right thing on that. Bear with me. Yeah, I'm not pulling up anything with XRP. I'm not, for whatever reason. I know I've got access to the Coinbase thing, but I don't know if they don't have it listed as, I don't know why. I popped in XRP and nothing's come up. But Bitcoin is once again pressing up against that 34.8, although it's right now it's 34.434. But yeah, I'm not finding that. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Bear with me one moment. I just pulled up XRP, but it doesn't come up on that Coinbase database, which is odd because it's got a ton of coins on there. Oh, XRP USD. Okay, hang on. Yeah, well, okay, I found it. We'll go to that screen. So there's XRP. So I put in just XRP, and you need to put in the XRP USD. So there's XRP on a 4-hour chart. I'm not 4 hour, but 2. I don't use 4 hours. A 2-hour chart. So I mean, got a little bit of a base here. We need to get. They did make a stab up here. For starters, we need to get above 33.41. First, this should actually be right there. Right there. But it does have a little bit of a base. But we haven't, I mean, we kind of made a move towards that area and we faded right back. But I think with all this craziness with silver, and that's what I'm thinking, I didn't know, I didn't read any news or anything. I was just thinking to myself, I'm thinking, well, that might be part of the reason that we're seeing this rebound. Here's your XRP. This rebound in equities. Look at that move. And it continues to. And if you look at it on the 2-hour chart, you can see here they're still pressing up here. Look at that. We got this hammer, so you can't ignore those technicals. NASDAQ trades real well on the technicals. And I saw this in Asia. I'm like, wow, it's still pushing up higher. And I thought, okay, well, it's going to have maybe some trouble here and here. I went to bed early. And then I woke up this morning like, whoa, it's still pushing apart. But you can see here, we're still pressing. But I think the reason we're pressing higher is because when you look at silver, look at how well silver's doing. So they figured that there's going to be less pressure on GameStop when people are really, doing really well with silver. So if they press into silver, and this is a bit of a surprise here in silver. If you look here in Asia, they had actually pressed here and we broke here, and I actually missed this. I was actually trying to pick it up. Like, and it jumped so quick, I wasn't sure how much. I should have just gone and picked it up anyway. But 2017 was the 23% back. And you can see how much we rebounded. And we actually rallied here to the 61% and quickly faded. And then we just dawdled here until we started breaking out. And then, like I said, once it got going, they've pressed it up pretty good. But as eventually we saw on the other stock, the other chart, it's pressing up against that weekly chart. But you can see here how well the indices are doing here. Taking a look here. Well, this is right at the 38%. $13,016. And then from the most recent one, you see if there's confluence, and there's a confluence. 13,061 is a 50%. And really it'd be like right there. Which would be 13,086. We might be able to stretch out to 13,086. And right there, that's 13,084. Right there. You see that close on the 2 hour? Trying to open that up. So it looks like that'll be a pretty good go if they can have a go there at that level. Got some decent little bit of resistance there. You got this close here, and that's significant because this was at one close, and then from there we never looked back. Remember, we had that near tweezer top, and we never did look back from there. We closed a little bit better here, and that was right just above these wicks, and then we rolled over. So that'll be an area for them to go to, 13,084. Well, that'll be it now. Thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover webinar. We'll see you in the chat. Thank you.